back, everyone, to another week of Three Things to Watch. I'm Carly Smith here with Rob Washburn. And Rob, this season is just rolling right along. A lot of impressive performances last week on both sides of the ball. Offensively, Monmouth had an explosive performance. They're one of two teams in FCS averaging 500 yards of total offense per game right now. Wow. New Hampshire's Seth Morgan tied Rick Santos' touchdown pass record at 6 in a game. Richmond's defense completed a shutout for the first time since 2022, and honestly, we could spend all day long talking about some of those standout moments, Rob.
Yeah, for me, Carly, it was great to have conference play underway as we saw Villanova and Rhode Island rely on their defenses to pull out close victories, while Delaware and Monmouth piled up the points in convincing road wins. And speaking of impressive performances on the road, that's exactly what Hampton, Stony Brook, and William Mary are able to do as they each improved to 2-1.
Now let's look into week 4. Plenty of excitement on the horizon, but let's narrow it to our first thing to watch. Hampton takes on longtime rival Howard at Audi Field in Washington, D.C. in the Battle of the Real HU. The Pirates, they're coming off a dominant win against Norfolk State last week, winning 37-7. They piled up 466 yards of total offense in that game and held the Spartans to just 104. Wow, the numbers don't lie at all, Rob.
No.
So what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, it's been really interesting to see how much Hampton has improved over the past 3 weeks under new head coach Trent Boykin. The Pirates' offense was extremely efficient against Norfolk State as quarterbacks Chris Ellis and Malcolm Mays combined to complete 25 of 30 passes, and Hampton added 227 yards and 4 touchdowns on the ground, with Ellis and Tymir Robinson scoring twice. Now, Hampton's defense was lights out, holding the Spartans to just 9 first downs and 58 yards rushing while recording 3 sacks. They are really clicking on both sides of the ball. Next up is another rivalry game against the Howard team that is riding a 2-game winning streak and put up over 30 points in both of them. The contest will be held at Audi Field in Washington, D.C. before a big crowd, and the intensity will be high. It'll be fun to see how this one goes.
Let's hear from Hampton's Trent Boykin on his thoughts prior to Saturday.
It's bragging rights for another 364 days of who is the real HU. It's exciting. It's a must-see situation, and our guys are already pumped up about it.
The action takes place in the nation's capital at 4 p.m. on Monumental Sports Network. Okay, moving on to our second thing to watch. This is an intriguing matchup, okay? Stony Brook at Campbell. The Seawolves defense proved to be tough in a 27-21 win against Fordham last week. Now Campbell's coming off of a loss to Rhode Island. But Rob, the Camels have been on the road now 3 weeks straight. This is their home opener. I truly believe the atmosphere in Buies Creek is just going to be electric.
Yeah, it certainly should be. This game features 2 more first-year head coaches in Billy Kosh and Braxton Harris, who have their programs headed in a positive direction. Stony Brook's on a 2-game winning streak for the first time since 2021, and you can see the team's confidence growing. As you touched on, the Seawolves defense overcame 2 pick sixes against Fordham by recording 7 sacks and making a pair of interceptions in the fourth quarter to end potential game-changing drive. The offense is making great strides under freshman quarterback Malachi Marshall and a solid rushing attack. Now, Campbell's played a brutal stretch of 3 straight road games to start the season and owns a nationally ranked win in Western Carolina. The Camels have a big play passing attack with quarterback Chad Masco and receivers Sincere Brown and BJ Wilkins. CJ Tillman leads the Camels defense that held Rhode Island to 12 first downs and 259 total yards last week. This is the CAA opener for Stony Brook, while Campbell is looking to rebound from last week's setback at Rhodey. Important game for both of them.
Yeah, very important. Okay, let's hear from Stony Brook's Billy Kosh and Campbell's Braxton Harris prior to kickoff.
We'll have to play our best. We'll have to play our best on the road. It's their first home game. They'll be jacked up. But really impressed with them on film, just how talented they are.
We got to have create explosive plays. You know, for us offensively, we've got to be able to operate in space and be able to make plays in space. Defensively, I think we're playing some really good defense. We got to stay locked in and eliminate the explosive play because like you saw on Saturday, the explosive play is what hurt us in those spots.
Kickoff is at 5 p.m. on Flow Football. All right, our third thing to watch. Let's chat about another conference game happening this weekend. New Hampshire plays host to the New Kids on the block. Bryant. UNH defeated Stonehill 45-6 last week. And Rob, I'd say the Wildcats are feeling pretty good on offense. They piled up 387 yards in the air thanks to the arm of Seth Morgan. Bryant's looking for their first conference win, and that's a team who is hungry. Okay, Bulldogs need to be fed. What are your expectations?
Yeah, Carly, New Hampshire turned in a complete performance in cruising past Stonehill last week. We mentioned Seth Morgan's record-setting 6 touchdown passes, but receivers Caleb Burke and Jory Corcoran both had over 100 receiving yards and combined for 5 scores. Defensively, the Wildcats gave up a TD on the opening drive, but then shut Stonehill down for the rest of the night, recording 4 sacks and holding them to 252 total yards. Now, as you said, it's the CAA debut for Bryant. The Bulldogs held a 16-7 first quarter lead on Holy Cross last week. The Crusaders reeled off 28 underhanded points to pull away. Transfer quarterback Jared Guest has been very good for Bryant, throwing for 259 yards and 2 TDs and running for a team-best 67 yards against Holy Cross. His top target is Landon Ruggieri, who leads the CAA with 18 receptions and has 4 touchdown catches. Chris Yates has a team-high 20 tackles for Bulldogs defense and will need to be at its best to shut down the Wildcats.
Here's what New Hampshire's Rick Santos and Bryant's Chris Merritt had to say about the game.
I think they're really big, physically imposing offensive line. I think they're nasty. I think they play extremely hard. I really like the quarterback, the transfer from Coastal Carolina. I think he does, Jared Guest. I think he does a really good job. We have to be really disciplined up front, keep him in the pocket.
This is a tough matchup for us, given what their abilities are, and we're just going to keep pounding the iron and getting better each week. That's got to be our goal.
The action begins at 3 p.m. on Saturday on Flow Football. A lot of other exciting games to keep on your radar this weekend. Let's take a look at the full Week 4 schedule. Thanks so much for tuning in to another week of 3 Things to Watch, and best of luck to everyone competing on Saturday. And for those of you watching, make sure to visit CAAfootball.com for results, recaps, and more. And of course, follow us on social media at CAA Football. Enjoy.